I was the wrong way around. I think I was unmuted and then I clicked mute. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Deadline stream. It is game week 6. Wildcard is active. We will go through my team. I know I've got David Raya in my team at the moment. I haven't taken him out. That is the plan. We'll talk about all of that in a moment, but I realise he's still in my lineup. I haven't made the transfer to replace him or do anything with him yet. Of course, if there's anything that happens today, then we will go and find out. Let's say hello to a few of you in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You can see a world where Raya is rested versus Leicester. I mean, it's possible. It doesn't sound like he's with the squad, which is what we will go through in just a moment. But before we do that, let us say our usual round of hellos to people in the chat. Steve, Jordan, Henning, Kevin, Fiona, Crown, XAA7, A, Immortal, Sean, Sashin, Borislav, Jake, Hook, hello, Tiger, Walt, FPL Imad, to all the members and moderators in this morning as well. Welcome to the stream and thank you all for your support as well. Arya, Mr. Roberts, Michael again, Peter, Rishi, Nathan, S, Steve, Ole, Cheekster, Nicholas, Roy. Hello everyone, let me shut my door. Sorry, I realised I left it open. So, this is where we're at. Wildcard is active. David Raya not in the Arsenal squads. Going to the hotel, which is always a fantastic start to how you want to have your wildcard. So it is what it is. We also saw Chris Wood rise in price last night. So my selling value on him went up by 0.1. So it makes the transfer to Chris Wood slightly more appealing. I can get 6.1 out of him rather than the 6 million I would have had before. I do think Chris Wood to Calvert-Lewin is definitely something I will consider. Absolutely, it's something I'm considering. Returned so far this season, he has had a 12-pointer, a 6-pointer, and then 3 blanks. I think the 3 blanks coming in game week 1 and game week 2 though doesn't massively concern me. He's been pretty good after that. Didn't get that much against Leicester. But he's definitely passed the eye test. And in the Villa game could have had so much more. And then if you look at Chris Wood's data. Where is it? Here we go. I mean, he had decent chances, but he took the penalty. Bournemouth, he had a good chance. It was a big chance and he tapped. It was a bit of a tap in. Didn't create that much against Liverpool. So I think it's pretty close between the two. Calvert-Lewin's on penalties as well. Both are on penalties. Fixtures, I can't decide on these fixtures. Like Fulham at home, Palace at home, Newcastle at home in there. Like West Ham and Leicester is not bad in 9 and 10. But then if you look at Calvert-Lewin's, Calvert-Lewin's fixtures actually just better. Calvert-Lewin's fixtures just better. Like he's got Ipswich away in there, Fulham at home, the same as him. Southampton away, West Ham away, Brentford at home. I think it's pretty close. I do think it's really close. I wanted to get the 0.1 value out of him before I decided on what I was going to do with that spot. Because I like Chris Wood a lot, but if you watch the games, like he's not getting a whole host of chances. Like he's scored the chances that he's got, basically. Can DCL stay injury free though? I mean, the Calvert-Lewin injury record is actually really good. He started 26 games last year, which is, I mean, it's not as high as maybe you'd want it, but like it's pretty good. And he's been pretty injury free this year as well. So the Calvert-Lewin the injury record doesn't massively bother me. Chris Wood is good. Yeah. Will Raya start? It doesn't look like it. So what we heard from yesterday apparently is that David Raya was not with the Arsenal squad last night. They stay in a hotel the night before. And he wasn't there. It doesn't mean he's categorically ruled out. We've seen it at other clubs like Man United. We often see it where players don't go to the hotel, but they still feature. I would say that's unlikely. I only hit the wildcard on Wednesday evening, and actually there was only one price change on either Wednesday or Thursday evening that benefited my team. I actually could have waited to Friday to play the chip, which is a bit of a shame, because then if I'd have got the David Raya news, maybe I'd have held off 1 week. I still would have played it in game week 7 though. That's the thing. Like, if I had it back now, I probably would wildcard in 7 rather than 6. But I gained like 0.5 in value last night. Brian Mbeumo went up, Semenyo went up, Saka went up, Chris Wood went up, and there was someone else as well, I think. Who else? Wood, Saka, and Mbeumo, Semenyo, 4. So I was okay with that. That was always one of the reasons, right, to go a week earlier. Just to start you off with not team news, but a bit of team news of team news. Tony is already on it. So let's talk through what I might do with David Raya. The shame and annoying thing is, and I think the obvious thing would be, is to do this. And it's a real shame I'm 0.1 short. It's a real shame I'm 0.1 short. I mean, I could go someone over Flecken. I could go to Matt Sells. I just like the long-term fixtures for Brentford more than Forest. So that's a shame. I mean, there are obvious ways that I could free it up, right? I could just sell Smith Rowe and go to practically anyone else at 5.5 or less. That is one problem. That's one opportunity that I could have. I could downgrade Solanke. You're right. I could do that. I need to have plans. Like, I could go Smith Rowe to Rodgers, right? Smith Rowe to Rodgers, Smith Rowe to Mavididi. Like, all of these are potential options. The thing is, right, and let me talk about Rodgers. And I'd be interested to know what people think on Rodgers. And I think he's a good pick. But if you look at their long-term fixtures, right? If you're not going to play him this week, which most people on Wildcard don't play him in this fixture, it's then United at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home. Again, you probably don't play him in United based on the other fixtures that most of us have next week. Unless you're going Chris Wood, then you might play him. So then you probably play him in Fulham away, Bournemouth at home. And then he's not particularly useful again until game week 14. But even then, it's a short 3-week period. He has bad fixtures here as well. He rotates decently with Semenyo, but not perfectly. The other one I look at is Mavididi. I don't know why I have this inkling to go and buy Mavididi. 2 starts, looking better. Bench him this week. Play him in Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Forest at home, Ipswich away. Play him in those 4 games and reassess it. Tyler Dibbling. McNeil is another option. Like, I could do this and then not go and then keep Chris Wood, right? So I could go McNeil. Oh, no, I couldn't. Oh, yeah, I could. Because I've got the 6 million. Oh, no, I'm 0.1 short. Oh, okay. So I can't. I'd have to go McNeil and Calvert-Lewin, which I don't think I'd want to do. Cool. Let's do some questions first. When does Semenyo come a sell? So Semenyo is interesting because a lot of people are going with him and they need to have a plan of what to do in those 3 games. And Rodgers is a fine replacement for those 3, but he's not the best, right? So it's 8, 9 and 10. Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Spurs away. Like, it's a fine 3 games, but it's, you know, it's not perfect, I would say. There's also quite a lot of Champions League in and around there. Someone like a McNeil actually is better in 8, 9 and 10, right? Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Southampton away. Smith Rowe is also better. They've got Aston Villa at home, Everton away, Brentford at home. So 2 home games. And Mavididi as well. Southampton away, Forest at home, Ipswich away. So there are definite opportunities to go with someone else. If I had Rodgers and Solanke this week, I probably would play Solanke, and that's the difficult thing. That's the difficult thing. Keep Smith Rowe. Keep Smith Rowe, yeah. That's the plan, but I'm then 2.2 short. Like, I do the Wood to Calvert-Lewin move. If I don't go... The other thing is, there's really... Yes, I saw the Tony tweet already. Is Rico Lewis. Like, if Rico Lewis starts today, then I'll go with him. And if he doesn't, I probably won't. So I need to have, to get the memo notepad up. Who remembers this beauty? Right. Raya is in the squad. Then what do? I do Raya in, and then Wood/DCL. Raya in the squad plus Lewis starts. Right, we need all of these. Raya in the squad and Lewis starts. We need Raya not in the squad and Lewis starts. We need Raya in the squad and Lewis benched. And then we need Raya not in the squad and Lewis benched. So we need all of these 4. We need these 4 outcomes. We need to know what we do in all of those situations. Can I make these bold? Oh, no, we don't want that. There we go. So we'll come back to that. Let's do some questions first. Clivert, if you need 0.1 for Wood or keeping Smith Rowe. I don't think I'd go Clivert. I'd go Mavididi. I just don't understand. I mean, maybe it is because it's Leicester, but he's looked good since he's come in. Is Calvert-Lewin on pens? Yes. Is Faz better than Greaves? He's not worth the 0.1 over Greaves, so no. Van der Berg, not an option. We just don't know if he's nailed. That's the issue. He's played because they've played a back 5, not because he's now first choice. So they've needed a third centre-back. So we don't know for certain that Van der Berg of Brentford at 4 million is going to be nailed. What's the hype about Solanke? I mean, he was a good pick for the start of the season, then he got injured. I mean, the long-term fixtures, there's no real opportunity to sell him for quite a long time. He feels like a nice long-term hold. He feels like a nice long-term hold. Am I going to captain Saka? Sorry. That should be on Haaland. Is Raya out then? You've missed. So he wasn't with the Arsenal squad last night. It doesn't categorically tell us that he's out. But it doesn't bode well, right? Doesn't bode well. The other thing I can do, the other thing that I do think about is just keeping Raya. Is it the most ridiculous idea just to keep Raya? And like if Lewis starts, is keeping Raya a completely ridiculous thing to do? Because they say he's going to be back next week. He said we'll be back for PSG. So if he's going to be back for PSG, is it the most ridiculous thing just to keep him? James, thank you for the super chat. Dibbling and Semenyo fixtures work very good together for rotation. What's your thoughts instead of Smith Rowe? I don't mind the dibbling, especially if your team value is not great. The only thing with it is it just doesn't... They don't feel like they know their first choice front three at the moment. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Jack, I will get you added to the WhatsApp after the stream. Apologies if I missed your message. So I don't mind dibbling at 4.5, but I do think the others are going to be more reliable, the 5-5-5 midfielders, if you can get to them. But I don't mind dibbling. Is Raya worth 5.6? I think so. I think the fixtures going forward are like, if you look at them, he feels like a very good long-term hold until, like, there's nothing. The only game, I mean, I'm not scared of playing Raya ever. That's the thing. And do I want to go someone else instead? Or do I just have a route back to David Raya? Because I like Havertz, but until we know that Odegaard is back, I don't particularly love Havertz. And if Odegaard's not going to be back until after the international break, then I don't feel like I need Havertz. I could go to Saliba. But if I'm going Saliba, then I have to drop Trent or Lewis to do that. I could go Fleck and Brighton rotation. That could work. And just leave the Arsenal spot open. These are all possibilities of what to do in goal. Exy, sorry if I haven't added you either. Again, send me another message and I will make sure to get you added and keep badgering me about it. Sorry. It's a real shame I'm 0.1 short because that would have been the obvious thing to do. Can you not have DCL and rotate him with Rodgers instead of an Everton midfielder? Also thoughts on 2 Arsenal and bring in Raya next week. I don't mind the use of a transfer to get Raya in next week. And then, I mean, the question is it better for... is that transfer more useful on something else? Like, are you going to get a clean sheet? If you get a blank out of a goalkeeper, like, I'd rather just start Raya and be 2 points down. That's the thing. Have I changed my mind on Chelsea defence? The issue is the next 7 fixtures are not great for Chelsea. I will reassess Chelsea defence later. There is a WhatsApp group. It is for the mid-tier plus members. That's why they're asking, because they've signed up. Why is no one talking about Jackson? I like Jackson. He's just slightly more expensive, and a lot of the wildcards are pushed right to the limit in terms of budget. Solanke's long-term fixtures are also slightly better than you get from Jackson. So that's the only thing that is boosting Solanke over Jackson and a lot of people. The other thing is Mykolenko, and I understand why people don't like the Mykolenko pick. One of the things is he's 4.3, right? So it saves a decent chunk of, well, saves 0.2 over most other cheap defenders. So a lot of us had 2 4.5 defenders in our drafts and then wanted Lewis, who's 2.2 more. So a 4.5 down to Mykolenko is an easy way to do it. The other thing is Branthwaite is back for Everton. Michael Keane is not going to play anymore because Branthwaite is back. With Branthwaite being back, it should boost the Everton defence. We all liked Everton defensively last season and early on in pre-season until we heard of the Branthwaite injuries. So that's where we're at with the Mykolenko pick. Aina or Mazraoui. I like the long-term fixtures of Mazraoui more. Moino drafts have Palmer. It's difficult to find that space to fit him in because a lot of us want Saka with their fixtures. Wino Watkins, again, it's just trying to find the budget to do that. I'd have to drop Luis Diaz or Trent to do that. And then I'd have to drop Solanke as well, who I can who I like. Can Duran start? I just wouldn't be buying Duran. I understand that his goal scoring record is really nice, but I don't think it's. I just won't be buying players who don't start games. Everton, Forest, and Leicester defence rotate lovely until next game weeks. Yeah, I haven't looked at the rotation. I can have a look at it on Rotation Planner. Garnacho, it just doesn't feel fully nailed at the moment with other fixtures coming in. I'm just not sure I want United. I might go in game week 8 for United. Their fixtures turn a bit better. But right now, no. My team value is apparently quite good. I'm surprised by that, particularly because I wildcarded late. That my team value is quite high, which is why there might not be obvious ways to afford this draft. Obviously, downgrading Smith Rowe would probably be the first option for it. I'm sure Rico Lewis will start. I had him, but I don't know if he'll play. Well, I'm hoping we might get a City team leak before the deadline, with them being the early kickoff. Smith Rowe or Rodgers? I mean, I prefer Smith Rowe if you have the budget. I like Mavididi as well, and Rodgers. They're very close between the two. Part of me just wonders. I know people say it, and I don't mind it. Like, this is a very template team, right? And if I do end up with Calvert-Lewin in over Chris Wood, it becomes even more template. So is Mavididi at 5.3 a decent differential in that midfield spot if I don't go Raya, right? So let's say I did. That's not what I want to do. Wait. Smith Rowe to Mavididi. I could then do Lewis, Raya. I could go Flecken. And then I could go for Saliba. Right? I could do that. Which feels not bad at all. Are there any Leicester fans in the chat? If you are a Leicester fan in the chat, let me know. I'd be interested. You can never get a Fox's attacker scoring frequently enough. I mean, he was so good for them in the Championship. But if you're a Leicester fan, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Mavididi and his minutes. This leaves me 0.1 in the bank, so we can probably add that to the spreadsheet. Calvert-Lewin versus Chris Wood is a side note. I could bench him away against Chelsea next week. You still feel like Cooper doesn't like him? I'm a Leicester fan. I just don't know if Cooper knows his 11, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it didn't start great, did it? But he's come in and he's scored twice. That's the only thing. Sanchez for Raya. It's possible, but the long-term fixtures for Chelsea are not great. What about Calafiori? I would just go Saliba Gabriel just because I think there'll be rotation for those centre-backs in there. Maddison I like a lot. I could go Maddison. I don't mind Maddison, but I'm going Solanke, so I don't think I want to double up. But Maddison's data is very impressive. As I'm sure you've heard people say that Maddison is second in the league for XGI this season, only behind Erling Haaland. A lot of that is boosted, though, by this game week. Gvardiol and 5.9 plus Flecken. The issue is I want that Arsenal defender. And I'm not sure I feel like Gvardiol is any more nailed than Lewis, given we've seen Lewis at left back. That does work. Like, I could go Smith Rowe. Like, I could go Gvardiol in here. And then go Calvert-Lewin. Like, is Gvardiol more nailed? Like, is Gvardiol really worth that money if he's not going to be going forward? Cooper subbed him. I mean, he did play 89 minutes or something, though. I mean, we thought he was safe, and then he didn't start Brentford at home. He came on at half-time. I just don't know about Gvardiol. I don't think I'll end up on that. City keeps conceding the odd goal, which is why I'm happy with 4.7, but 6 mil for one feels like quite a lot. Semenyo, Rodgers or Smith Rowe. I mean, at the moment, if I had the choice, I'd remove Rodgers. With Rodri out the rest of the season, it will severely impact Gvardiol. It might not just mean he's not getting far forward, right? No, I don't think the Wolves match will be postponed. Flecken, Havertz, Davies or Jackson, Sanchez, Lewis. Probably the Flecken, Havertz option. You have two controversies. Good morning, Ido. Robinson or Lewis? I'd go Lewis. Salah and Burma or Saka and Palmer? Again, I'd go... I mean, I'd want Saka and Palmer, but I also would want Burma. Need 0.3. I would downgrade Smith Rowe before I downgraded Mikalenko to another 4 million, I think. The only time I might take money out of Mikalenko is if I go Trent, Gabriel, Saliba. And if I go Trent, Gabriel, Saliba, do I need anything but a 4 million on the bench? Flecken and Sanchez rotation, thoughts? The issue with that is I'm basically spending almost the same amount as just going Raya, and I much prefer Raya. Yeah, the Leicester... I listened to the Planet FPL Arsenal versus Leicester correspondence, and he didn't mind Mavididi as a pick. Yeah. If you're looking for a similar draft, the Smith Rowe to Mavididi or Smith Rowe to Rodgers, or if you need more, Smith Rowe to Carvalho or Smith Rowe down to Dibbling, are the obvious ways to free up money in this draft. I mean, I know I said it, but is keeping... I don't know if this is... Is keeping David Raya and just taking a 0-pointer this week the worst idea? Is it the most horrible idea? Arsenal reserve keeper is Neto. The issue with going Neto is... Sorry, I know I've just repeated myself. We might get to next weekend and you have the same issue. I'd rather go for another goalkeeper who I thought had a good fixture this week. I mean, to be fair, that is like the standout keeper, but there's not loads of keepers I'd punt on. I mean, some of you saying yes, some of you saying no. The issue is, if the keeper I buy instead of him this week doesn't get a clean sheet, it's not worth the transfer. Like, I'd rather have the extra transfer than the 2 points lost over a goalkeeper this week. And what I would have to basically buy a goalkeeper that keeps a clean sheet this week. And if they don't, then it's not worth the transfer. I could go Neto, but unless we have categorical news pre-deadline, I don't want to take that risk. So I don't like the idea of going a goalkeeper for 1 or 2 weeks and then going to Raya. If I don't go Raya now, I won't go him until game week 12 when their fixtures go good again. But you'd have another Arsenal defender that plays, that gets you points rather than Raya. Havertz to outscore Raya, yeah, I mean, but they're not comparable, those two. Like, you're not comparing Havertz to Raya, you're comparing Havertz Flecken to Raya Solanke. There's difference in there. Like, Brentford are rated a 27% chance for a clean sheet this week. Like, doesn't fill me with loads of confidence. There are 6,000 of you in and watching, already only half an hour into the stream. If you haven't already, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Would be greatly appreciated if you haven't already. I'm sure we can hit 1,000 likes. There are 6,000 of you who haven't liked the stream already. Mosen, thank you for joining as a GOAT tier. Again, I know I feel like you're in everything and this is just a renewal, but it's come out as a new membership. So welcome anyway. Shame Neto isn't 4 million. I mean, yeah, but then you'd have triple Arsenal elsewhere, right? You don't want to use that as an Arsenal spot on your backup keeper. I could go Edison. I could go a rotating pair and not go triple Arsenal. I just love the long-term ability of Raya. I am absolutely terrified. Well, not terrified, but I am scared that we will get points from Mo Salah this week. Mo Salah is arguably the best captain this week. Arguably. Well, that's kind of my thinking, HA04. What goalkeeper do I expect to keep the most clean sheets? If I look at it over the next 10 game weeks, do I think it will be Raya, or do I think it will be someone else? So, I don't know. Take Raya and Neto both. I can't because I've got Gabriel Saka. City news probably only half an hour before the deadline. Probably 10:30 onwards. So I do wonder just about keeping Raya. Is Raya confirmed out? He wasn't with the squad last night, but that's the only thing. What's the plan if we get news Lewis is benched? That's a really good question. So I have two choices on Lewis. Let's talk outside. Sorry. Drinking too close to the mic. I apologise. I absolutely hate that. So I will be more considerate of that. If Lewis is benched, I have a couple of choices. I can say to myself, okay, well, it's probably just because of the Newcastle fixture and I can bench him for Mykolenko this week. Or I can go, it's too much of a risk going forward. He's got lots of fixtures I won't get team news for and I can sell him. In which case, I mean, part of me might go and buy Saliba and not go Raya in that situation. I could do that. I could just go to another option like a Mazrari or something like that. Both of those work. 8 Nori at 4.4 is a nice long-term pick. Could rotate well with Mykolenko in that final spot. Yep. Flecken or Henderson? I prefer Flecken. Flecken upside, you get a 4 million backup. Yes, unless you ever want another Brentford asset. That's the only issue. Collins with Flecken. Did I not consider Mazraoui over Mikalenko? Yeah, I just don't have the budget. If I had 0.3 spare in the bank, I don't think I'd own Mikalenko. So, yeah, on wildcard, Chris Wood or Jackson. I mean, there's a lot of money between them, so probably Chris Wood. I might still end up with... what's his name? With Wood or Calvert-Lewin. It's possible. Well, I know Gundogan just definitely doesn't feel nailed to start. You attempted to get 8 Nori, but he's 3 yellow cards already. That puts you off. Yeah, 3 yellow cards in the first 5 weeks is a lot. Thoughts on Milenkovic? So actually, if I was going a Forest defender this week at 4.5, I probably would go Milenkovic over Aina. Just that set piece threat is really good. Reason you choose Mikalenko over Keane, because Keane is not going to play once Branthwaite is back in the team. Is Raya, Muric, Pinnock better than Flecken, 4 million, Saliba? Raya, Muric, Pinnock. I prefer the Flecken 4 mil goalkeeper just because I don't like the backup goalkeeper to Raya at all. Players change in price. So people don't have the same money once the first week of the season starts. Best defender for 4.1. I would just go Greaves at 4 million. I could go Edison. That was the initial thought process of as soon as he was out, I was like, okay, I will go Edison or I will go Pickford, who also has a really nice run for those 6 games. What about Kanate? He seems like a solid long-term pick. I don't mind it. I do just worry when there's a lot of fixtures if we will get a random start for Kwanzaa. But I don't mind the Kanate pick. He does look pretty nailed at the moment. So I don't hate that pick at all. I'm not doubling up on Liverpool though, and I do think Trent is probably worth it. Have I mentioned why Sells isn't worth a long-term pick? I haven't. I don't mind Sells, and he's been good this season, and Forest have defended really well. There are just some games in here that I just don't like. The long-term for a goalkeeper, basically I really want Raya, and I do just wonder about keeping him. I just think he's the best long-term keeper. And I found a squad structure I like with literally nothing in the bank. That's the only thing. 2 4.5s or Lewis Mikalenko. I mean, I probably would go Lewis Mikalenko. Does Jota start? If you've got Jota... Someone just said... One sec. Sorry, the reason I've paused is apparently one sec. Sorry, the reason I've paused, I don't want to say it out loud until I've listened to the stream. But apparently Andy just said that he's heard that Raya is... Apparently Andy's heard that Raya has been seen at the hotel. Sorry, no, I can't multitask. So, I mean, that's interesting, apparently. And someone came into the chat. Sorry, this is peak FPL. Sorry, let me actually talk to the stream. What an exciting bit of streaming that was. So apparently Andy said that he heard that he has seen or heard that David Raya is back at the Arsenal team hotel this morning. Well, Semenyo Dibbling or Solanke down to DCL to upgrade. I don't mind Semenyo Dibbling, to be honest. Which would be a massive boost, right? And even if he wasn't going to play, I think I would still take the chance that he does. Okay, well, let's see. I'm going to... If that's the news and we hear... If I see anyone tweet it, if I see it written down, then yes, I will probably keep him. But I need to see it written first. Aina or Mazraoui? I just like the long-term Man United fixtures a lot better than I like Forest's. The only thing is do we expect Luke Shaw to come in and take his place? So I probably would go Ola Aina now. Man United fans have put me off. No one's picking Van der Berg because we don't know he's nailed in a back four. He's played 2 games on the bounce, but they've both played a back 5. So we don't know he's actually first choice when they go to a normal back 4 system. You want to do the same wildcard team, but you're short. Well, you just have to downgrade someone. Smith Rowe or Mikalenko. A Smith Rowe or a Mikalenko. Let's see. That Raya boost would be massive. And I would just take the chance on him. I would just take the chance. There's no good 4 million goalkeepers. None of them are predicted to get any minutes unless there's an injury. So you're basically just back in an injury. Just checked Andy's stream. He said Connor, who tweeted yesterday, say Raya was not at the hotel, just messaged him to say Raya is now at the hotel. Cool. Let's have a look. We'll see. Any news on Liverpool lineups? We won't get anything really until, I wouldn't expect, until half an hour before the deadline. Generally, that's when you can tend to expect it to come. That's when you can expect it to come. So we'll see. You mentioned you feel Konate misses your game, but it's the same for Diaz. Why not Maddison? Second highest XGI. I like Maddison. I've gone Solanke. The next 2 for Solanke are not quite, for City are, for Spurs are not quite as good. So I might do Luis Diaz to Maddison in a couple of weeks if he keeps up this form. Why not Jackson and DCL instead of Wood and Solanke? Money, I think I'm 0.1 short of that anyway. And I just like the long-term fixtures for Spurs more than I like them for Chelsea. Jackson or Havertz? I probably would go Havertz. Oh, you sent the clip. Fine. I can't watch the clip right now. Finny, let me have a look. Raya, Lewis, Savio, or Henderson, Trent, Rodgers. I don't like Savio, but I like the Raya Lewis option more probably. But if that's the pure pick, then I'd go Hendo, Trent, Rodgers. Because I don't like the Savio pick that much. Isaac news, we don't know. Apparently he hasn't trained, but how many times have we heard Eddie Howe tell us one thing in a press conference and a player be out for weeks and then suddenly turn up to the match at the weekend? So, yeah. Who would my second choice keeper be instead of Raya? It depends if I wanted a long-term pick or a short-term pick. A long-term pick, I would go someone like an Edison or a Pickford or a Flecken, but a short-term pick, to be honest, I'd have to try and back a clean sheet this week, so I might go someone like Alisson and double up on Liverpool. Is probably what I look at. Take a minute break from lineup questions. What's the FPL content creator community like? You guys ever see each other much? So, I mean, they're all the ones I talked to are all really nice. I'm sure it comes of no surprise to anyone watching me answering that question is that I talk to Ross, Raptor, and Oscar like every single day. We have a group chat, the three of us, and like I talk to him. Yeah, I talk to those guys every single day. Like we see each other a little bit. Of course, we've both been on Ross's podcast. Um, Outside of that, there's like outside of the people who do like YouTube, there's meetups in London for just FPL people every single month, which are really nice. Um, I actually have a plan to not live in London forever, and when I move to another city in the UK, I'm almost certain to set up some meetups there. But inside the FPL world, I've spoken to Andy little bits. I've spoken to Mate little bits. They're both really nice. I've spoken to Oscar and Ross, of course, more than I speak to my family. So those two top of the list. Those two, of course, top of the list. Finny, I had a look. I don't like Savio as a pick, so I would go the other option unless you want to change Savio. What about Mavididi? I just like him as a punt, but I prefer that if I've got the money for Smith Rowe. Andy, sorry, let's talk FPL. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Yes, FPL Harry. Lewis and Aina, if I had both this week, I'd probably play Ola Aina. The reason I'm not starting Mikalenko this week is I'm not certain that I expect Branthwaite to start, but it's not a lock, right? That's a minute's risk going forward. I kind of only need him for the next two, and then I can reassess. You should all flat share content creators if the same gaff, like I know the Sidemen used to do it, and other people, right? Diaz is a slight minute's risk. He is one that I might review in a couple of game weeks, but I just can't have no Liverpool attack in this fixture. Yeah. I don't know where I'd go from it. Yeah. I need some Liverpool in this fixture. Thoughts on Colwell? I don't mind the Chelsea defence, but again, the Chelsea fixtures over the next... these don't scream clean sheets to me, really, at the moment. DCL and Faz or Jimenez and Mikalenko. I'd go DCL. I don't love the Jimenez pick. The Fulham fixtures are not looking great over the next few weeks. I wouldn't be buying into Fulham. Yeah, Jimenez, I don't mind. I don't think I'd be buying into them based on their long-term fixtures now. We kind of missed the best period of Fulham. I'd be trying to find the next best thing. Like, I'd look at Wolves before I looked at Fulham now. They've got tricky games in the next three, but then it does look really nice for Wolves. So, yeah. Do I watch much YouTube outside of FPL? Not loads. I watch a lot of FPL YouTube just to have on in the background. But I don't watch loads of YouTube. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but again, a lot is football and FPL focused. I need more recommendations of stuff that's going to interest me outside of football. Because it was weird, because before I did this as a job, football and FPL was like my pastime and my escape from work, and it was my hobby. And like when I didn't want to, be working or I wanted time at the weekend, like football and FPL was that. Now I still absolutely love it, but it is now what I do for work, right? So there are moments when you're like, I need just time to think about something else, because it then just becomes like all consuming, because in the evenings I'm still thinking about my FPL team and continent stuff. What did I do for a career before? I did something called market research. So basically I looked at what people were buying in the shops and looked at data of what people was buying in the shops and recommended to brands what they do with their products, basically. That's a little bit on me. Rogers and Mavididi are good cheap ones. No wonder a market research guy doing well in FPL research. Morning, Tom. Thoughts on going for Havertz over Solanke? I don't think it's necessarily worth it, and I just think I want the double defence to set and forget. I'm really hoping now, based on what we heard, that we think that we get positive news on David Raya. If David Raya is at the hotel and Connor, that guy, said that he should be back for midweek, I will just go there and I'll take the punt on having no goalkeeper. Did I go to uni? Yes, I went to Durham, which is in the north of England, for anyone unaware. Up near Newcastle. Thoughts on Sancho? Again, the fixtures for Chelsea are not the best right now. If I'm going Chelsea, it's Jackson or Palmer. Again, if you're gonna, if there's stuff on Twitter that you want me to have a look at, please tag me in the bottom of it, and I will have a look. I'm gonna just, a lot of them I have blocked, right? We do this every week, but there are accounts that I just block because they get team news, they're guessing on team news. So I block them, and as soon as I see that, I know not to believe that account, right? So we will do that again. You're drinking my oat milk at FPL Juice. There's not going to be any left for me. I'm in on Tuesday, on Monday and Tuesday next week, and there better be some oat milk left. How are we doing, Alf? If you guys haven't seen Alf's channel, he's doing lots of like street interview stuff. I tried it once and it was the most daunting experience I've ever done. And Alf does it every single week. So go and check out his channel. He's just started it up. It's called Alf FPL. Oh, Alf PL. I apologise. Alf. ALFPL. There we go. Foden and Burmo, Rogers, Saka, Palmer, midfield, 4-5-1. If we get news that Foden starts today, there will be people clambering to them. Absolutely. Start Eze or Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin, probably. Probably Calvert-Lewin. Can I repeat what I said about Raya? So, Raya last night wasn't pictured with the Arsenal squad. However, today, apparently, he has turned up. We're going to wait and we're going to see. So we'll see this morning. We might get a boost on David Raya. Start Eze or Calvert-Lewin. Mid is Mbermo, Palmer. Yeah, I'd go Calvert-Lewin over Eze, probably. Best 4.5 midfielder, 100% categorically. If you need a 4.5 midfielder, please buy Dibbling of Southampton. Saka or Palm or Salah for captaincy, and why? I would go Salah if you don't have Haaland. I would go Salah if you don't have Haaland. Leets lineups is the biggest liar and he deletes his lies. Categorically correct, Mamba. Be careful of these accounts on Twitter, because when you scroll through their feed and they look like they've got everything right, they delete the things they get wrong. They delete the things they get wrong. So be careful. I've seen all the stuff on Raya from last night. Thank you for tagging me in it. It's basically anything that we get that's new this morning. Why not sells for a keeper option? They've had a lot of their good fixtures. So I don't mind sells at all. I wish I went with him in game week 1. would have been a definite better choice than Henderson, right? But yeah, I think there's better 4.5s that have better long-term fixtures. They've used up a lot of their good fixtures short-term. Dean or Moreno and captain Saka, Salah, Palmer, Watkins. I'd captain Salah if you don't have Haaland. I'd probably play Luka Dean over Moreno. What about Salah, Haaland for captain if you have both of them? It's so close. Like, what I would say on Salah, Haaland, if you have both, is of course Haaland is the safer captain. He will be the most captain player this week. You will probably gain rank if both do well if you captain Haaland, but not if you captain Salah. You'll want Haaland to blank. So if that impacts your decision, which it probably would impact mine, is I probably would captain Haaland. Now, if you want a little bit of risk aversion, I actually think Salah may slight edge it on captaincy, but there's not much in it. So in that situation, I probably would go with the reliable in Haaland, which is what we've seen, the reliability from him so far this season. Mo, Slanky, Eze, Rico versus Saka, Diaz, Kai, Gvardiol. I mean, you don't need to go Gvardiol over Rico Lewis in that just for the sake of it. Like, that feels like spending money for the sake of it. So I'd go the first option probably. No, I'd go the second option, but just not by Gvardiol. Rodgers or Semenyo. I'd play some. If you're going Semenyo, you have to start him this week, because if you're going Semenyo and you're benching him this week, you're then 3 of the next 4 fixtures after that are really bad. So if Raya doesn't start, do I think he will price drop though? So cheaper to buy next game week. I'd be surprised given how good he's been. He's had so many transfers in, and he'll be in all wildcard teams in game week 7 anyway. Start Levi Colwill or Anthony Robinson. I'd play Colwill in the home fixture. Raya and Nico Williams or Flecken and Watkins. Nico Williams. Oh, sorry, Nico Jackson, not Williams. I don't know why I was reading that. I read Watkins in the line below. I would go the Raya route probably. I mean, I've done the same, but I've gone Slanky. Thoughts on Rashford? Fancy a gamble? Personally, if I was taking a gamble, it would be on Maddison rather than an Arsenal, Man United midfielder. Best 4.5 million defender. Probably Forest have to be up there. So someone like Milenkovic. How's my favourite silent Forest fan? Looking forward to today's game. I am. I actually predicted you on my podcast to lose this weekend though. So I think it'll be a really good one. Best 4.5 defender. I mean, you can go Mikalenko and just save the money. I don't mind that. Olaina or Milenkovic at Forest. You can go Kirkes. You can go Konza. Mazrari if you have 4.6. So. I feel like I should actually do some planning, right? Of what I'm going to do with my team. In as well, 7,500 of you in. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do. We will be turning it into subscriber only mode in just a moment as well. So if you haven't done that, and that will be subscribers only comments as we do for the final hour. But as well, there are 6,000 of you that haven't, or 7,000 of you that haven't liked the stream. Subscriber only mode. You literally have to subscribe for any duration. Downgrade Smith Rowe and Solanke to get Raya. It depends how far you've got to downgrade them. Is my stream not showing at 60 FPS? It should be. I haven't changed any of my settings. Oh, it's showing at 30. Was it? Am I considering Edison instead of Raya? Yes, it's a possibility. If Raya's out. It does sound like we might get some news on him though. So I'm hopeful that if there's any sort of video of David Raya being available, then I will just keep him and I'll chance getting a 0-pointer. If only we knew if any of the 4 million goalkeepers were going to play. Life would be so much easier if we had a 4 million goalkeeper. I would just pick David Raya and I wouldn't even care. Robertson and Lewis, or Kanate and Gvardiol. Robertson and Lewis. I just don't think that Kanate is massively more... Gvardiol is massively a better option than Lewis. Lucas Dean or Konza or Pau Torres. I mean, you have to look at Lucas Dean's data and think that he's got to be worth the punt. But the issue is, feels like there's just a benching waiting to happen on him. So I probably would still go Konza. I think I might just upgrade my 4 mil goalkeeper and bench Raya if he's out short term. I mean, it sounds like he's only going to be out 1 week, that he'll be back for the Champions League midweek. So in that case, I mean, you can go to Muric. He's the cheapest. He's 4.4. You could also go Ramsdale, but who've got Bournemouth. You could do that. I don't think I will go on Neto yet. I don't think I'll go Neto at all, actually. Unless we hear a long-term injury for Raya, which it definitely doesn't sound like. You pretty much have the same team on your wildcard. Would I have Diaz and DCL or Smith Rowe and Watkins? Probably the DCL route. It feels slightly more balanced. I do like Watkins, though. Ooh. Sorry. Where are we going? Let's go back to this. Maybe Raya went for the free breakfast. Maybe. It's just very early for him to be there if he's not in the squad. So, let's see. Let's see. Let me search Raya Arsenal and see if anything comes up. Don't see anything yet on Twitter. I know the other guys will probably tweet it, but... nothing yet. Best cheap midfielder. If you need 4.5, it's Dibbling of Southampton. Has your opinion on the Chelsea defence changed? Avoid at the start of the season. The thing is, I think they're probably not avoids anymore, but because of the fixtures they have, like Brighton at home, Forest at home, are not fixtures we always keep clean sheets in. Forest are a bogey team for us. So I don't think the next two are good, and then it gets difficult. So on wildcard, I don't think I would go for a Chelsea defender. I like them as long-term buys over the season, but I don't like them now. Any update on Son playing? No, and I absolutely doubt we'd get it. He was expected to train today, and if he comes through that, he should play. I expect Son to play. No cake yet this season? No. It's a sad state. It's a sad state. No cake at all. Big fan. Should I start Robinson or Munoz? Probably Munoz against Everton. Why no Cole Palmer? I just can't fit him in my midfield. I'm pretty happy with how things are looking. It's just going to be Wood versus Calvert-Lewin, I think. The only thing on this is next week, Wood has Chelsea away, Smith Rowe has City away. So I have to play Wood against Chelsea. And if I go Calvert-Lewin, I mean, he's got Newcastle at home. So I just wonder about Wood. They've got no Gibbs White this week. And then next week they play Chelsea away. Take a hit to sell Isak or hold till next week. I mean, if you've got no one on your bench, then I would take the hit probably. Doesn't look great for him. I mean, we know we've seen Eddie Howe lie in the past, but it doesn't look great if he hasn't trained at all. Lewis will be benched half the games, isn't it? I'd be surprised. He's been very good this season. Go for Mavadidi. I just got value in Smith Rowe that I don't really want to lose. Long-term punt, Mazraoui or Kirkes. I probably would go Mazraoui if I could go either and just hope that Luke Shaw doesn't come in. Because if he doesn't, Wood against Chelsea, not a bad fixture for him. Also, he has on pens. I mean, Calvert-Lewin is also on pens, though. I would definitely play Wood over Smith Rowe next week. I would definitely play Wood over Smith Rowe next week. Why have I not chosen Salah for my wild card? I mean, outside of this week, I don't feel like I necessarily need him over Saka. And I can just do so much with that money. That 2.8 million goes a long way. Goes a long, long way. Like, it's Luis Diaz and Saka or Salah and Rodgers or something like that. So, Vardy or Jimenez, I would definitely go Vardy. The fixtures long term are definitely better. No, Morgan Gibbs White isn't as bad as you think. I believe it allows the likes of Elliott to step up in that leading role. He's been fantastic this season. Interesting. I mean, Fulham have been good this season though, right? I mean, if Raya turns up, then I might just leave it as it is. I might just leave it as it is and play Chris Wood next week because Calvert-Lewin has Newcastle next week, so that's not the easiest fixture, although it is at home. I don't know. Part of me just wonders if the good times for Chris Wood have gone slightly. Things are slowly coming to the edge. They're coming to the edge. What's his name? Calvert-Lewin. If anyone understands that meme reference, not really a meme because it was older than a meme, then a massive shout out to you if anyone in the chat has any idea what I'm going on about. And I'm coming to the edge. Can't trust DCL injury waiting to happen. I mean, the DCL injury, long-term injury stuff is... No, it's not, lads. Actually, it's not. It's not that. It's not that. Let me get... What do I want? I'm trying to get Calvert-Lewin's injury record up. One sec. Current season, all seasons. I want all his... How do I find matches played on this website? Full stats. Right, let's have a look at his injury record for last season as well. It's not like this was him last year, right? He missed early on in the season, he missed a few games. And then after that, he missed 1. He missed 2. And he missed again. But they were safe by this point. He played almost every game for them last year. My notes. I don't really have anything in my notes at the moment. Yes, Rob. Someone got it. Someone got it right. He also says, bacon is good for me. I don't know why that has just suddenly come into my head, but it has. Sorry. It's a bit cold in my house. Ooh, getting dressed on stream. This is new. Get ready with me. DCL more likely to get 90 minutes too than Wood as well. That's the other thing. The minutes for DCL are definitely better. I haven't filled in my notepad yet because we saw positive news on David Raya and I got excited. I do need to know what I'm going to do with Lewis though, whether he starts or not. Is the Raya leak legit? I mean, which one? There have been about 5. I'll do Raya in a sec. Trent, Gabriel, Mikalenko, Greaves need a 4.45 million to defend to rotate. Let's have a look for you. So this is, I used it in my video, and the guys at FPL Rotation Planner messaged me and said thank you. They said they had more views of this website in an hour than they've had in a day ever after I linked it. So I appreciate anyone supporting these guys. Basically what you do is you choose the teams you want. So I could say I don't want an Arsenal defender because they're too expensive. I don't want City. I don't want United, etc., etc. And I don't want Liverpool. But I definitely want an Everton defender, which was the question. 2 of them to start, 1 for the next. I don't need to go all the way up. Let's go for the next like 10 game weeks or something. Let's go to there. And it will tell you that the best rotation you can do would be Everton and Bournemouth. And it will tell you what the fixtures are. It will tell you what the next best. So if you've got Mikalenko and you've got Greaves, I mean, you don't really need the third one. So I would probably just pick Mikalenko, Greaves, and just pick another defender that you like that doesn't necessarily need to rotate. Maddison and Watkins or Saka and Solanke. Saka and Solanke, definitely. Going Palmer over Saka. I just think long-term Saka is just such an easy hold. He's such an easy hold. Yeah, thank you for tagging me in that. But this grey FPL account, I have blocked. I don't think I've ever seen them. So I wonder if they got something wrong and have rebranded. But yeah, I have them blocked. So that's what I would do if you've got Mikalenko. I'd go Greaves and then I'd pick any of the others. Like, don't go Robinson, for example. Like, it doesn't work. But their fixtures are not looking good anyway. So that is that website. It's called FPL Rotation Planner. I can put it in the chat as well. I'll put it in the chat as well. What I say about Onana as a differential, the Everton one or... I don't mind Onana. I don't actually know. I don't like either Onana as differentials personally. So no. Why Solanke over Smith Rowe? I just think that game has goals in it. They looked pretty good during the week as well. And I'll always take the striker, I think, in this situation. Raya news. We don't... Oh, yeah, Raya. Sorry, who do I prefer? Aina or Kirkes? Nottingham Forest or Bournemouth defence? Probably the Forest defence. But the fixtures are not quite as good, but probably Forest. So looking at Raya, so of course he missed out during the week. Then he wasn't. Then he said we've got to wait and see over the next 24 hours. He then wasn't pictured with the Arsenal squad arriving at the hotel last night. However, apparently he has been pictured or he has been seen at the Arsenal hotel this morning, but no one has seen that picture. Like there's no proof of that picture anywhere or the video or anything. So that's what we're waiting on basically. I just think he's the best long-term keeper. So I might just use that as a little bit of a whim and just keep him. Even if there's no actual proof and just take the 0 pointer if he doesn't play. Do I think I should do my wildcard? And I mean, I don't think copying moves is a particularly exciting way to play the game. So I probably would not advise to do that, no. Personally. Why did Neto not play midweek? So the reason... So everyone... It's been spoken about a lot. So the reason Neto didn't play midweek was not because Arsenal was saving him. It's because he's cup tied. He'd played in the cup during the summer for Bournemouth and as a result cannot play in the cup for Arsenal, which seems wild. Why on earth they signed him when he then can't play in the cup? Seems strange, but that's where we're at. Bench one of Wood, Rodgers or Lewis. I'd go Lewis. If you can play the attackers, play the attackers. Bench Rodgers or DCL. I'd bench Rodgers. Am I keeping Raya? Well, with the slight thing that he might be at the hotel, like, let's wait and see. But if he... is at... If there's any video evidence of him at the hotel... Andy's just tweeted it as well. So let me get the tweet up. We're also expecting City team news. So this is where we're at with it, right? Andy's just written it down, basically. Raya has been spotted at the hotel apparently this morning, but you have no way to confirm, and there's apparently a video that you haven't seen. So as far as I'm concerned, he's still a doubt until we hear or see more, which is probably reasonable. FPL is never plain sailing. Absolutely not. Never. Kane. Is that member Kane? Is your membership just run out this morning? Don't know. Maybe it's different Kane. In Die, DCL or Wood. In Die looks really good. He does, but DCL has pens. So if you don't have value tied up in Wood, I'd just go DCL. Loving the pod. Ignore the hate. Thank you. I appreciate it. There's been a bit more this week than normal. But it is what it is. Sanchez over Raya, then use the 0.9 to upgrade. I don't think so. If Raya is available, he's the best goalkeeper in the entire game for me at the moment. So yeah, I'm going Raya unless we hear anything. I think I'm going to chance the 0-pointer. Who would I pick if I can't afford Saka? I mean, I'd downgrade someone else and I'd get Saka. Like, there's no alternatives to Saka. There's no alternatives there. Raya and DCL or Flecken and Solanke. Raya and DCL. Thoughts on Dibbling? The best 4.5 midfielder by quite a long way at the moment. He's probably got more returns this season than Harry Winks will have all season. So if you can't afford Raya, just go someone like a Flecken or a Pickford then. Jackson or Solanke. Short-term Jackson, but as a long-term pick, Solanke is the one I'm going with. Rodgers or Wood. I would play Chris Wood at home and on penalties. Is your life more balanced now that you have FPL as your full-time job? I would say yes, but then I would also say I have then filled it with more FPL stuff, right? So like I do an extra video every week, like I do much longer on videos, like I do my podcast now on a Monday. My life is definitely more balanced, but it's not like I don't sit around twiddling my thumbs doing nothing, basically. I'm busier now than I was before. Best alternative, Solanke under 6.5. Calvert-Lewin and Chris Wood are the top two, and it's pretty close between the two. Flecken or Sanchez? I'd probably go Flecken based on the long-term fixtures. Wants to keep Smith Rowe value. Should I take Smith Rowe and Semenyo? Transfer Wood to a cheaper option or stick Wood, Semenyo, Mavadidi? If you have to go down a long way from Wood, then sell Smith Rowe. Raya and Kelleher. No, because Alisson is meant to be back for Liverpool today. I would go Muric or Ramsdale because at least I have them for the long term because they're their club's first choice. But yeah, Kelleher don't think he'll start. If I go Flecken, would I also go Valdemarson as your third Brentford spot? I think I probably would just go Flecken, Valdemarson. Rodgers or Adama or Smith Rowe. I mean, Smith Rowe if you can afford it. Smith Rowe if you can afford it. So this is it. Let me just show you the rotation that I looked at. So I'm going to add slightly more game weeks, right? But if we think Semenyo and Smith Rowe are good long-term options, I mean, there's lots of rotating pairs, right? And it ranks pretty high up to rotate. Things look pretty good for me over the next... well, that goes until game week 18. I mean, we could add... If we go to 20, which is the end of the Christmas fixture run, things look pretty nice on the whole for the two. That's Everton. It looks the same. the rotation between Smith Rowe, Semenyo between now and Christmas, New Year is really nice. Is really nice. There's only like a couple of game weeks that things don't look great. And in game week 12, you might play them both because it's when the fixtures for Forest don't look quite as good. Try Rodgers and Semenyo. Yeah, I do. This is Rodgers and Semenyo. It's here. It's quite low down. Depends. I mean, the thing is with this is it gives you a lot of benching decisions. Like, it's absolutely fine. Like, they rotate decently enough. It's not perfect. The other thing to remember is if you're doing this one, you're probably benching this. Like, you're probably benching this fixture. Again, this is FPL Rotation Planner. Let me put it in the chat. Best 4 million defenders. I mean, it's probably Greaves and then about Faz at 4.1. Wood to Raul to keep Smith Rowe and Semenyo. No, I don't think I'd do that. I'd downgrade Smith Rowe. Like, look at this Mavididi. I mean, I would. Like look at this. This is why the Mavididi Semenyo picks were in a lot of my videos this week. This rotation until game week 20 is perfect. You have pretty much a good fixture every single week apart from game week 17. And like good fixtures as well. It's a really, really nice. That's McNeil, sorry. This is the Mavididi one. McNeil also works, but a lot of you are going Calvert-Lewin, so it doesn't work. So, I mean, I could do Smith Rowe to McNeil. And then I have to bench one of them this week, probably, and then not go Calvert-Lewin. Saka is consistent but rarely hauls. Salah is also consistent, but you do have the high chance of hauls. But if I'm not going to captain him, the consistency and the money I'll take from Saka. Got Mikalenko, Greaves, and 0.3. Should I upgrade? And if so, recommendations. I mean, if you want to upgrade Mikalenko to another 4.5, then potentially go for it. But Everton were great defensively last year, and I don't mind him at his price with the fixtures they've got. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think I'm more likely to stick with Mikalenko and just keep the money now, to be honest. Mavididi or Rodgers. If you've got value tied up in Rodgers is the much safer pick than Mavididi. So he's the much safer pick than Mavididi. So I just repeated myself again. Captain. Sorry, let me get my actual lineup back. So the big thing we need. Let's do this storyboard, right? Raya's in the squad. And Lewis starts. We do the same and it's just Wood versus DCL, right? Ryan not in the squad and Lewis starts. I do just wonder about keeping him. I think I'm just going to keep him for 1 week. Because if he's at the hotel, I'd be so surprised between now and deadline we get a tweet that says he's not in the squad. But I suppose I do need to prepare for that. Raya in the squad and Lewis benched. It's the Lewis benching that It's the Lewis benching that is the thing. If Lewis starts, then I'll keep Raya. If Lewis is benched, then I probably go Lewis to Saliba. Raya to someone else. And, I mean, I have 4.3 for goalkeeper. So I need to free up some money, right? It's like Smith Rowe to Mavididi would give me 4.6. I mean, I'm not that far off Sanchez, am I? But the fixtures have just massively hauled. John, welcome as a mid-tier member. FPL victorious. I went back and answered it. Aina or Kirkes. I prefer Olaina. Muric. So you can also get Muric or you can get Ramsdale, but I would go Muric. Can I say hi to Jackson and Jacob, please? Good morning. Good morning. Raya and Robbo or Flecken and Trent. Raya and Robbo or Flecken and Trent. Raya and Robbo or Flecken and Trent. Raya, probably. Raya. Thoughts on Savio? He's my Smith Rowe in comparison to your draft. I don't mind it if you've got the money to go. Ooh. I'm lagging. Hello. Am I lagging to you? Has it fixed itself? I think it's fixed itself. Is it better now? I've never had that before. That is slightly concerning. Slightly concerning. I've never had that before. Fixed. Fixed. Not lagging. That was just me sitting still. Right. If Lewis is benched, and then I probably do like the Flecken, Saliba, Mavididi route. Flecken, Saliba, Mavididi. Right in the squad and Lewis benched. Probably just go Lewis to someone else. Maybe I do Mazrari and I play Mikalenko. Or I could just... It's either bench Lewis or Lewis to Mazraoui. Surely you keep Lewis and just play Mikalenko. I probably would. This means I just kind of don't change my team and just take the benchings on the chin this week, right? Just absolutely categorically shows I probably should have wildcarded next week. Captain Saka, Salah, Palmer, or maybe Watkins. Salah is best if you don't have Haaland. Thoughts on Savio? We did. Semenyo or DCL? I'd probably play Semenyo. Can't have him and not play him in that fixture. Any logic in Raya and Neto? Currently Raya and sales. Absolutely not. It's a waste of an Arsenal spot for the longer term. Rodgers or Adam or Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe if you can afford it. If you go Flecken, would I go Valdemarsson? I would. You really want Watkins for this week and to drop Trent for Konate. I don't hate Watkins and Konate or Solanke and Trent. I probably would pick Solanke and Trent. Jackson for Wood, Raya for Sanchez and Smith Rowe for Caicedo. I mean, I wouldn't go Caicedo, but I don't hate the Jackson to Wood move. I'm getting weird messages from my streaming stuff. That's why I keep looking really concerned. So yes. Why Fabianski? He was just the closest, the furthest away from dropping out of the 4 millions. Areola has also had a few bits of injury news. He does also have a few bits of injury news as well. Just trying to search for Raya as well. Keep that tab open. It's thoughts on Savio. You lagged. I don't massively love it at the price. It's one of those that you look at the City fixtures, you see Savio as a starting City player and you think it's worth it. I'm not sure it massively is, to be honest. It feels like one of those that's going to frustrate more than anything. However, in at that price bracket, there isn't loads. So if you do have 6.5 and there's not much else you want to upgrade in your team, then I don't hate it. Is Evan Nilsson a good punt? I don't love it because I'm not certain he'll keep penalties now that he missed one the other day. He might get... If he doesn't, it's probably other options like Wooden and Calvert-Lewin that I prefer. If Lewis doesn't start, best replacement for him at the same price. I mean, I've got Mazraoui penciled in. I might also just end up benching him. It's Wood versus Calvert-Lewin. And we're going to get some City team news. This next 20 minutes is going to be chaos. I would do my best to keep up with super chats, but if I'm honest, like I'm already doing my best at the moment, and I realise I'm missing some. So I'd probably advise not sending them if possible. I mean, you can, but just to warn you, things are going to get pretty hectic. Who should I get since you can't afford Wood? I mean, Calvert-Lewin may still be in my team at the deadline. Have I considered Ederson? Yes, if Raya's out, I could end up going Ederson. Best two rotating 4.5-ish defenders. You don't love Lewis. Mazraoui Kirkez looks nice. You can go Ola Aina and maybe a Chelsea one as well. Aina Colwill. Ryan news, we don't have anything yet. No. Nope. It is 26 minutes to the deadline. And we have nothing. This is frustrating, this. It's frustrating me. I'm going to be worrying about Lewis's place every week. Maybe. It's going to be a lot of trying to predict his minutes. That's the thing. Is it what I want? I just think it's worth the risk over all of the other one than all of the other cheap defenders at that price. And if it doesn't work, it's just one transfer. We don't have anything on Lewis news. No. We don't have anything. I wouldn't, if you haven't, I don't think this is the week for a triple captain on Salah, no. I think there'll be other weeks later on in the season or a double if you want to do it that now. If no more Ryan news, then I'll keep him. Even if I hear that he's not in the squad, I may still end up keeping him. I like the squad structure I've built. And I just think Raya is the best long-term keeper. And I don't know what keeper, like, what keeper would I pick to get a clean sheet this week? That's the thing. Who would I buy to get a clean sheet? I've seen all the stuff on Twitter about Raya. We don't know that much. There's no video or footage or evidence or anything that he has joined the squad. So... by Edison, like, but I don't want Edison this week. This is the thing. Like, if the keeper I buy doesn't keep a clean sheet this week, I would rather just keep David Raya. How stressed are you out of 10 right now? I would say I'm an 8, and I would say it's almost guaranteed I reach a 10 in stress in the next 24 minutes. If you guys see things on Twitter, just tag me in them. It's easier than if you just say it in the chat. It's the only way I have of seeing the tweets that you're seeing. Allison back. I could go Allison, but it's an away game. So I might just keep it as it is. No one talks about Foden. We just have no way of knowing if he starts. Right, before we get to the chaos, let's decide on Chris Wood versus Calvert-Lewin. Let's decide on those two. Let's have a look. Right, so the next attacking fixtures, sort by difficulty. And we want the next... Let's go for the next 5, right? Everton are top. Forest are also up there. There's not much in it. Player stats. Player stats. Yeah, leaked FPL. I have no idea. The Raya footage is out. Hang on. Hang on. I'm getting it. We're going to watch this together. I haven't watched it.
I beat Gabby. Best centre back in the world. Best centre back in...
I'm going to mute it just because I don't know what they're going to show. Have I missed him? There he is. Who's anyone a professional body language reader? There he is. No, isn't that him? That's his beard, isn't it? That's him, isn't it? Let me get it bigger. Oh no, now you can't see anything. Alright, I can't make it bigger. I can't make it bigger because I've got split screens, and when I go full screen, it breaks everything. That's his beard. Lee, thank you for gifting 1 membership. I appreciate it. Steve, you won a membership. That's him, no? I can't go full screen. I can't. Like, if I go full screen on it, like, this happens. And that's all you get to see. Can I zoom in? Right, there we go. That's David Raya, no? It's him. It doesn't mean he's playing, but that is David Raya, whether you think he's going to play or not. whether you think he's going to play or not, that right there is David Raya. That is his beard. I've seen David Raya before, and I've seen his beard. This is his beard. He has a very recognisable beard. And it's slightly better quality when he's walking. So let me bring it. Oh no, it's broken now. Oh no, what's happened? Here we go. That's David Raya if ever I've seen David Raya. He's limping. No, he's absolutely fine. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to play. It doesn't mean he doesn't guarantee anything. It's just a video of him walking, but his body language looks weird. I mean, it does look a little bit weird, but maybe that's just like him as a person. Like the player behind him.
David.
Just lots of shouting children. I think I'm gonna. Oh dear. This deserves an FCA. Yeah, if you want to vote for me in the Football Content Awards for content like this, then absolutely go and do it. Then absolutely. Where is it? If you are enjoying the content and do want to vote for me in the Fantasy Football Content, the Football Content Awards, there is a category called Best in Fantasy Football Creator in this link, and then I am in that list. If you want to vote for someone else, you can, but let me pin one of these. It's probably easier. There we go. Right. Now we need to hear something on Man City. That is probably enough for me to take the chance on David Raya, because as I said, I think from next week he's the best. Oh, there's another video. There's another video with better HD quality. The whole feed is, I mean, Twitter is hating me right now for zooming in and out. Look at the quality on this. He was later on. There. I mean, it looks just as bad. I mean, that's David Raya if ever I've seen that. And he's not limping there either. Yeah. 4K beard. He handles those stairs with ease. He doesn't handle those stairs like someone who's got an injury. He looks fine. He stumbles. I love this so much. I actually just love this part of FPL. Dear. If you think this is content that should win an award, then please do vote. But David Raya's HD beard not stumbling down some steps means he is staying in my wild card. Dear. Anyone want to tweet? Tony, do you want to tweet anything? Like, do we want any City team news? Would go down a treat right now. Let's do some questions. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, though, if you could, that'd be fantastic. There are 14,000 of you in, and only 2,000 of you had liked. Just really happy seeing Raya walking. I was just concerned for him. Just, concerned for him. I'm glad to see him doing so well. But thank you for all the likes and subscribes. Would I start Lewis or Zabani? If Lewis starts, I'll start him in pretty much any game, particularly if there's likely to be no Alexander Isak to go with it. On Wildcard, have 0.3 in the bank and do Greaves. We did. 1 free transfer. Robinson to Lewis or Wildcard. I wouldn't do Robinson to Lewis. I probably would Wildcard next week after the deadline now. With that. DCL or Wood? Yeah, sorry. The group chat, the WhatsApp community is going to be having a field day with me this afternoon. I can feel it. Jen and Duncan are going to be in with the screenshots and the screen recordings all afternoon. Wood versus DCL. Right. Stats. DCL versus Wood. Thank you. A reminder. Someone's DM'd me a photo of David Raya saying, Raya, I appreciate that person doing that. Expected. I want to have a look at some. Right, first goal threat. Right, let's have a look at this. I do just wonder about going Calvert-Lewin. The fixtures are better long term. Calvert-Lewin with more penalty area touches than... Where is Wood? Only show selected players. Right. Penalty area touches are massively up. Attempts, the similar. Chris Wood has had more big chances. And more shots on goal. Same minutes per shot. Let's have a look at expected. There's nothing on City yet. XGI, where are you? Oh, here we go. Calvert-Lewin. Where's Wood? Wood is slightly above him, right? It's just that penalty he had, though. Massively moves it up. I think I'm going to end up on Chris Wood. On DCL. I think I'm going to end up with this team, but DCL in there. There's literally nothing. I don't see any tweets on City. I think I'm going to risk it. But I do think I'm going to end up on Calvert-Lewin. Your advice earlier, thoughts on holding Vardy for third striker apart from Haaland and Wood? I don't mind Vardy. He hasn't had loads of shots. Like all of that data, he was right at the bottom. Tony's doing Patreon now. I know, he said he'd do some publicly though. If you see stuff on Twitter, please, on City, please tag me in it. There's not. I just think we're gonna. I think we're gonna keep it as it is. It's just that forward decision now. It's just the forward decision of Calvert-Lewin versus Wood. It's just the slightly longer term fixtures for but then it might end up being João Pedro in that position anyway. Season ticker. Salah or Haaland captain. Salah is much safer. There's just random Twitter accounts that I just don't know if... So attack, difficulty. I mean, Everton are just right up there. Palace, Fulham, whereas Everton have got Palace, Fulham. Let me just drag them next to each other. Then it's Chelsea versus Newcastle, Ipswich and Leicester. Like, it's really, really close between the two over the next 4. 5, 6. Right, we've got to make this decision now. Then they play West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, whereas Everton go Southampton away, West Ham away. I think I'm going to keep it. I think I'm just going to keep Chris Wood. He's just been my guy. He's just been my guy this season. And I hate making last-minute changes to stuff. Can't afford Raya. Thoughts on Sanchez? I don't mind Sanchez at all. I probably would go Flecken over him, though. Keep Semenyo, Smith-Rowe, or Mikalenko, Rogers, Smith-Rowe, Semenyo. I mean, if you've got 2 4 million options... If you've got 2 4 million options, I'd probably look to upgrade that bench. Rage. On Wildcard, I have 0.3 in the bank. Can do Greaves to Mikalenko as 5th defender, or should I save the cash? As a 5th defender, I wouldn't. Okay. We have FPL Tony lift off with 7 minutes to go to the deadline. Rico Lewis starts. Haaland starts. Yes. It's time. It's Rico Lewis time. Oh dear. I told you this last 30 minutes was gonna... I need to get one of those fitness bands which tracks my heart level going into the deadline. This is what we wanted. Haaland starts as well. I mean, we might just end up, after all of this chaos, making no changes. All-timer stream. I'm going to watch it back later, I think. Dear. We got 5 minutes to go to the deadline. I don't kind of know what to do for the next 5 minutes, really. Let's answer some questions. Rogers or Mavididi? Rogers is much safer. than Mavididi, but I don't mind Mavididi as a punt. If we'd have seen a few more weeks of Mavididi, I think I'd be definitely recommending him, but there's always that slight bit of doubt in my mind after just 2 weeks. Timber will start. We don't know that much. We don't know David Raya will start. It's still a doubt, right? But any news on Foden? No, nothing yet. I do have his notifications on for him. So, Wood or DCL? I think I'm going to stick with Wood. I think I'm going to stick with Chris Wood. What about Foden? We haven't seen any news on Foden, no. Wood or DCL? I'm going to stick with it. Wood has been a great servant for me for the start of the season, and I'm going to stick with it. Why Solanke over DCL? I like the long-term fixtures for Spurs. Evan Nielsen, I don't mind as a short-term punt, but I prefer a Wood or a Calvert-Lewin, or probably a Vardy, to be honest. Why Solanke over Jackson? I don't have any money in the bank to go and change this team. João Pedro out for a hit. I mean, if your bench player is anyone half average, then I would sell him because you'll have to sell him over the next few weeks, Duncan. Start Porro or Smith Rowe, always the attacker in that situation. I would go with Smith Rowe. Thoughts on Calvert-Lewin? I like him a lot. It's pretty close between Calvert-Lewin and Chris Wood. Lewis starting, yes, we've seen that. We have no actual information on David Raya apart from he has a beard and David Raya can walk down steps. Those are the two big headlines from David Raya today. He has his beard, he can walk down steps, and is of course with the Arsenal team. How long have we got? 4 minutes. Start DCL or Solanke? Probably DCL. If you are enjoying the 15,000 of you in, if you haven't liked already, please do. It takes 1 second of your time. Helps the channel, and subscribe if you are new around here as well. Massively do appreciate those things. And check out the new podcast. It's linked at the top of the description. After the deadline, of course. But let's go. Start DCL or Solanke. DCL. Smith Rowe or Rodgers to start. Rodgers. Mikalenko and Wood or Aina and DCL. Probably Mikalenko Wood. Probably Mikalenko Wood. What I think about Onana as a differential, I don't love it. I don't love Onana as a differential. Thanks for a good stream. No worries. DCL or Rodgers, probably DCL. Start Lewis or Dean and check pod. Start Lewis or Dean. Lewis if he's going to start. Lewis. Is Raya worth it? I'm going to take the gamble on Raya. Solanke or Rodgers? Probably Rodgers. Solanke or Rodgers? Yeah. Smith Rowe or Rodgers? Rodgers or Semenyo. Trent and Gabs or Gabs and Saliba. Trent, if you have the money for him. Any team news? Rico Lewis and Haaland start. And David Raya can walk down steps with the Arsenal team and has a beard. Delap wouldn't be my choice, I don't think. Just not enough minutes in that. Don't know if he's on penalties, and I don't expect them to score enough goals. Focal has just tweeted his wildcard. Did he go with David Raya? That is the question. He did. And he's gone Chris Wood as well. That's my team. Oscar's getting such flack in the group chat after this for that wild card. That is my team, Oscar. Calvert-Lewin, I like Calvert-Lewin. Decent option, absolutely. Best mid under 5 mil. If you need under 5 mil, Carvalho of Brentford or Dibbling of Southampton. If you had enough money, would I go Mazraoui over Mikalenko? Yes, I would. Mikalenko or Milenkovic? Probably go Milenkovic. Start Jota or Eze? Jota. How long have we got? 1 minute to go to the deadline. That is going to be the deadline. Let me at least check my teams in the right place. That would have been a nice last minute surprise, wouldn't it? That is going to be 30 seconds to the deadline. By the time you hear this, you probably will have your teams all locked in. Please go and check your teams. Game week 6, wildcard active. Lock it in. There we go. There we go. FPL have tweeted, that is going to be that. The business is going to be done. The game is locked. The wildcard is finished. I'm just going to have a little lie down for a moment. Just bear with me. Thank you all for joining. If you haven't already and want to vote for me in the Football Content Awards, and if you've enjoyed this stream, click the link. There is, scroll down to Fantasy Football Creators, choose FPL Harry, and it will literally take 20 seconds. You can also vote for someone else if you prefer someone else. That's also fine. But before you go, if you could do that. And also a reminder, podcast will be out on Monday, which is linked in the description if you want to check that out as well. So check that out if you are going to go. But I'm just going to we'll do FPL challenge in a moment. Yeah. Oh. Harry actually gets stressed like the rest of us. I cannot tell you. I often get comments being like, Harry, you... why'd you do this? Because you've obviously made up your mind on your team. I cannot, for the life of me, express how much this is all... I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing with my team, like going into this stream. I cannot. Andy's gone with Bruno. This guy. To be fair, Bruno's data's there, but Andy loves him. Fancy challenge. Pick team. Jackson is straight in. Don't love that. How do I get rid of this? I don't want that, right? I don't want Visa. I want 1-2-1. Let's get rid of Visa. I didn't put DCL in. Do I think my non-wildcard team will outscore my wildcard? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I'm going to go with Mbumo. I'm going to go... Is that all the defenders we have to pick from? Olarina. And just... Well, I wonder what goalkeeper everyone's picking. I wonder what goalkeeper people are going to get. Oh, wow. What goalkeeper shall we pick? This is Fancy Challenge. The link for the code for Fancy Challenge is in the description down below. I'm just going to take a screenshot of that, just because it says wildcard active at the bottom. It's quite a nice one. Save team, Captain Salah. I feel a little bit... somehow he's only 98% selected. %98 of people have gone Onana. Who have the other 2% got? Who have the other 2% picked? Um, 1.4 have managed to find a true goalkeeper differential there. Shout out to them. I mean, it is. There's like so many of the same players. What team did I end up with wildcard? This is my wildcard draft. This is my other 2% are playing 4D chess. I love it. I am going to see friends this weekend, so I need to go because I need to go and get on the train. I will be on Twitter today a little bit. This has been a real crazy boost this morning that I didn't know I needed. No keeper might be better. Yeah, maybe that's what the 2% have gone with. But that's how the wildcard ended up. I want to thank you all so much for your support. I'm sure some of you have seen the comments I posted this week, and then to see 15,000 of you tune in and all the questions and all the nice things in the chat. Thank you all so much. If you do want to vote in the Football Content Awards, it's there. The podcast as well has been massively supported this week after those comments. So again, the episode for that will be out on Monday evening. There is a link in the top of the description if you want to go and check that out. I will also post that in the chat as well. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a lovely weekend. That's the podcast. Check it out. Have a lovely weekend. I appreciate you all so much. And yeah, that is all. Have a good one. And I will see you on Monday morning will be the next video. There will not be Sunday night. It will be Monday. If you want to vote for me, let me show you the category. So if you go on that link there, and if you click in here or you scroll down, it's called Best in Fantasy Football, which is here, and then Creator, and then I am just there. That link is pinned if you want to go and check that, and then you scroll down and you click Vote. You don't have to put stuff in. You literally click I agree and you click Vote. So that is all. That is that. It is Best in Fantasy Football and then Creator. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all again very soon.